Alright you guys, so today is going to be the day I finally film my palette collection video. Also, this is just a blanket because I'm kind of cold up here. We're at a little bit of a different angle today. I thought I would sort of film downwards, kind of in the drawer, but I also am probably going to take everything out of the drawer because I think it's just a little bit easier. You guys have been asking to see an updated palette collection video from me, so we are going to do it today. And I'm also hoping in the future to do a bunch of shop my stash videos, so I'm hoping that this will kind of help let you guys know what I've got, and so you guys can request certain looks from certain palettes. So a lot of the palettes that are on top are ones that don't live in the drawer because they're either too big or they have a home somewhere else. So first things first, I think we're gonna take everything out of the drawer. I'll kind of fast forward this part, and then I'm going to go through and talk to you guys about everything I've got according to brand. Alrighty, so I hit a point where I stopped caring where everything went, and now I just have a huge pile of crap in my lap. So we're just gonna like do this as I put things back in the drawer. I just felt like this was the easiest way to do it, and then I can also sort of count my palettes. I guess as I go, I'll kind of put like a little tally up, and then maybe we can keep track of how many I have. So this first one that I've got is this Lorac Treasure in the Stars Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales palette. This was obviously a limited edition palette. I know a lot of people don't keep limited edition stuff and don't show it on their channel, but I don't know. For me, it seems silly to like declutter limited edition stuff because like that's the whole point. It was limited edition, so if you were quick enough to go out and get it, why wouldn't you keep it? Anyway, this is the only Lorac palette I have left. I used to have another one. I absolutely love this. The pan sizes are super tiny, but the actual like shadow quality is just freaking phenomenal. I rarely ever use this palette just because it's so big that it lives in the bottom of my drawer, but like Lorac shadows are just freaking amazing. This blue is absolutely stunning. Like, I don't know why I don't use this more. I really should. And this one came with, I got the whole set. It like has like a face palette that you put in here. So I think it's like a really clever idea to like keep the whole set together, but this thing is like massive. So that's why I don't really use it all that often. All right, so now I'll talk about my Too Faced palette. So this first one that I've got is the I Want Kandee palette. Again, the packaging is a really cute idea, but also really stupid in terms of storage. There's no mirror in this palette, which is really annoying. It's just in this like giant tin, and I don't know. Again, it was cute for the time, but like for practicality, it's dumb. So this is what the palette looks like. Again, absolutely gorgeous palette. I really like these. What I like about this is they've kind of separated it into these like 3 little sets of 4. So you could like get a whole eye look out of this set, a whole eye look out of this set, a whole one out of this set. You've got these really nice crease colors. This one's got a little bit of a shimmer to it. The other ones are matte, but they are just stunning. They're such good quality shadows. A lot of brands, I find that when they put out limited edition stuff, the shadow quality suffers. This was not the case for this. I absolutely love this. Again, a palette that I really need to reach for and do a little bit more with. I think that this was supposed to be limited edition. I'd have to check if you can still get it. But if you can, other than the fact that it's annoying as heck, the size and like that it has no mirror, really, really good investment. Okay, sorry if we've moved a bit. I sort of realized I forgot to bring my ring light down here, and that the ring light was just coming like shining on my back, so hopefully you guys will be able to see a little bit better. So let's go through the rest of my Too Faced palettes, if I can find them all. Next palette I have, this came out in the Christmas collection this year. This came out in the Gingerbread House collection. So it came with this eyeshadow palette, which I absolutely love. I did a look with this on my channel. Again, these shadows are beautiful. It is mostly like shimmers, but the mattes are really good in this. Like, just freaking stunning shadows. I need to, there's so many, this is why I do these videos for you guys. They're just as much for me because it's like, I'm realizing I have all these palettes that I love that I'm not giving enough attention to, and I don't know why. So this collection came with like this eyeshadow palette. It also came with a blush bronzer highlighter palette, and it came with this little guy as well. and this has like a bunch of glitter shadows and then a couple of matte shadows. I don't use the small palette anywhere near as much. That's just because I'm not really big on glitter. But again, really, really cute. This is one of my favorite limited edition collections that Too Faced has put out in a while. Next, I have my Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette. I feel like everybody had or like has this palette or had it at some point. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't. I'm just trying to like not blind you guys. Okay, there we go, kind of, maybe. Anyway, I honestly don't use this. Well, no, here's the truth of it. I never use this palette as a standalone. I just don't. I don't know what it is about it. I just never do. But what I do find is like a lot of my other neutral palettes are always missing one shade in them. Either they're missing a super dark brown or a really nice light crease color. I always am dipping into this for these kind of colors here. Maybe a little bit this purple. I very rarely use anything along this edge. And honestly, the thing that I love this for the most is the mirror, because 9 times out of 10, if I'm doing my makeup, like on any given day, I'm using this mirror to do it. So it is really good. It is definitely still available if you're looking for all matte palettes at a not bad price. Any of these that are still available, I will also put the price for either in the video or down below. There are other all matte palettes that I prefer to this one, but this one is a good one. Next one is the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. Now, I was so excited. I think that this was my first Too Faced palette. I honestly can't remember. It might have been the I Want Candy palette, but I was so excited to get this because at the time I thought I was allergic to chocolate still. Turns out I'm not, just tree nuts. But I was so excited because I really wanted, this sounds really stupid and superficial, I wanted one of the Too Faced palettes that came in the tin, but I couldn't get the chocolate bar ones because they all had cocoa powder in it and I thought it would like kill me or break me out or something. So I have this one. Every time I do a declutter, I feel like I contemplate getting rid of it, and I really don't know why, because again, it's absolutely stunning. Not as many mattes as there are shimmers in this palette, but that's okay. I love this green. It is like my favorite part of the entire palette. I don't know, it's just absolutely gorgeous. I'm just gonna zoom you guys in a little bit, I think. Okay. This pink color, again, really, really pretty. It's very similar to like a couple other colors that I have. It's got this really cool like iridescence to it where it kind of goes from pink to orange to like gold. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that, but it's absolutely stunning. So another oldie, but a goodie. And again, I think that they still make that. I'm pretty sure this one's discontinued. This is the original Gingerbread Spice palette. I know they came out with the extra spicy one this year. I did not get it. I kind of regret it. I look at it now in videos and I'm like, crap, that's really pretty. Maybe if it's still available, I might try. But for the most part, this one is my favorite. I'm told it's quite similar to the Chocolate Gold palette. So if you had that one, I would say you definitely don't need this one. But I just love it. It's got all your neutrals that you need. It's got these beautiful glitters and they're in such interesting tones. Like this is a gold, but it's not like a real gold. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's not a bright gold. It's almost like a dull, dirty kind of gold. And I really like that. This green here, absolutely stunning. And then you get these beautiful pops of color that are just freaking phenomenal. Like, again, I love this palette and I never use it. I don't know why. Why is the reason, Sam? Figure out your life. But yeah, another really, really awesome palette. I think that this is my last Too Faced palette. So this is the Too Faced Sparkling Pineapple palette. It came out in the Tutti Frutti collection a couple summers ago. To be honest, you guys can pick this palette up for like next to nothing now at like a lot of Winners and Marshalls, and HomeSense kind of have them. Or I guess not HomeSense, but Winners and Marshalls. I've seen these a ton along with the berry one, which I don't have anymore. I did declutter it. But I love this one. The shadows in this one particularly are just amazing. I'm getting the worst cramp in my leg. Oh my god. Okay, there we go. Better? Maybe. The mattes are really, really nice. The shimmer's phenomenal. The pan is kind of coming out a bit, so I just need to glue that back down, but that's not a big deal. This green, again, super, super stunning. It's like, I gotta figure out the best way to do this. It's like this green that shifts to brown, shifts to gold. So pretty. This color here, so freaking gorgeous. And it's like the softest formula. Maybe if I get closer to you guys, is this better? That seems a little bit better. I'll get nice and close for you guys. Again, a nice decent sized mirror, and it's like a smallish palette, which I like smaller palettes. They're easier to travel with. They're definitely easier to store. Let's talk about this one because it's the only one I have. This is my only Makeup Forever palette. This is the Let's Gold palette. I really like this. I am definitely more drawn to like this half of the palette with like the really pretty khaki kind of colors. That's more of my color scheme. But again, the ones over here are really, really nice as well. It's a very, very nice neutral warm palette. The shadow quality is fantastic on these, and what's really cool is, I don't know what I did with them, but when you get this palette, you get a bunch of like overlays, and it shows you how to do certain looks, and there's cutouts in the overlays for which shadows you're supposed to use. Love that. I think it's a fantastic idea. Again, another shadow palette that I just never play with because I get in these ruts with the palettes that I know that I love, and then I forget other ones that, you know, I should also be paying attention to. My one Dominique Cosmetics palette, this is the Rustic Glam palette. I decluttered my original latte palette and everybody was like, oh my god. And it's so funny because every time I watch other people do declutters, everyone's always like, not getting rid of this, I can't possibly. It was fantastic in terms of quality. I just found that I was never using it. Like the colors were just kind of got boring to me. Now the Latte 2 palette is much more up my alley. I might have to think about getting that one, but I love this one. It's got some really, really nice like base colors that any standard palette really should kind of have if you're hoping to do a whole cohesive look or use it for multiple things. Like if it's just a crazy bright palette that you're only going to use for crazy bright looks, that's fine. But it's got this really nice like tan brown. It's got like this reddish brown. It's got a really nice creamy kind of color. And it's got some of these, like this color here, this green is just absolutely stunning. It's got some nice base colors like that, but then you also get these bright pops of color here that are just fantastic, that make it a super, super versatile palette. It is one of my favorite ones of the ones that she's put out. As I said, I do like the Latte too. I like the look of it, but I haven't gotten it yet. And I know she's got her like Celestial Storm, I believe it's called, palette, which is a lot of fun, but I just find that this one is, of all of her palettes, it is the best combination of like wearable for every day, but also with those fun pops of color. Let's talk about a drugstore palette now. This is the Essence Earth palette. I have used this once and I was pleasantly surprised. I really, really liked it. Now again, this is one of those palettes that is virtually, almost virtually. This is the only matte shade in the palette. Everything else is a shimmer shade. So this is one of those palettes that I would maybe drag back in that Too Faced Peachy Mattes palette for, just to have a little bit more. I actually used this with my Natasha Denona Safari palette the other day because a lot of their color story is very, very similar, but these are really, really nice shadows. Like that green is just absolutely stunning. Got this like peachy kind of color. My hands are getting a little dyed now, so the colors aren't showing up true to form, but they are really, really nice. They came out with a bunch, one for every element. This was the only one that was really speaking to me. I was really happy with that purchase. Speaking of drugstore palettes, this is another one. This is the Wet n Wild Not a Basic Peach palette. Mickey gave this to me back when we did our swap, like what seems like forever ago. I really like this palette. It is a beautiful palette for travel. I'm really into the Wet n Wild shadows. This one just speaks to me because I am a sucker for a pop of blue. I like neutrals. I like that kind of like orangey, coppery kind of look, but like just having that little bit of blue is really, really pretty. Are these the most amazing out there creamy shadows ever? No, but they do the trick. They are very pigmented. They blend really well. And for the price point, you really can't beat it. This is my Tarte Tartelette Toasted palette, whatever it's called. I am obsessed with this. I was obsessed with it when I got it. I still am now. It is pretty dirty. You guys can tell it's been pretty well loved. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I've ever hit pan on a single palette because I have so many, but this is probably the closest. This shade actually, I lost it for a little while. Like it popped out and it was like hiding underneath my desk for a really long time. And then I cleaned up and I found it, but I love this palette. It is very one noted. I mean, you're only ever going to get a neutral kind of look, but there's a little bit of variation in here. There's some of these more reddish tones, definitely this dark purple, some of the lighter tones if you're looking for a more soft glam look. I absolutely love this. It is the only Tartelette palette that I have. I've thought about getting a couple other ones and I just always come back to this one. I also have 2 of these Tarte foil finger paints palettes. I used to have all 3. I only have 2 left. I decluttered one of them. So I've got this one. This one is in Lunar. And then I also have Bahamas. I got rid of the one that had the bright red in it because I had a red shadow quite similar to that. These are really cool. I'm going to use this one because I can get the piece of plastic off of it. They are like, you barely need to touch them and you get the most intense color payoff. Like, they are just absolutely gorgeous. If you're looking for something like really bold, really shimmery, really bright, you really like that kind of stuff, and even like that glitter is not crazy, like it's glitter but it's not going everywhere, I cannot recommend these enough. There's another one now, there's a quad that's got like these beautiful like rose gold kind of tones in it that I'm just itching for. These are so good if you're into those kind of like creamy metallic sort of shadows. Let's talk about my Jeffree Star palettes now, since they're sitting kind of in front of me. So first off, I have the Thirsty palette. I adore this palette. This one I picked up for myself. It was the one I wanted the most, the one I was itching to get the most. I'm pretty sure it's discontinued, but you might still be able to get it on Beautylish, which is where I got mine. I did a whole video using this, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about, but the formula is so amazing. These are they're so soft, so buttery, beautiful pigmentation, amazing blendability. The metallic-y glitters are just so freaking nice. Oh my god. Like, how was I living before I tried these palettes? I don't really know. So I've got the Thirsty. You guys also know that I have the Jawbreaker palette. I did a look with this. This has many more mattes than the Thirsty palette does. This is one of those bright palettes that you're probably not going to get unless you're really looking to do some crazy bright fun looks. But even so, I have done neutral looks using this palette. I kind of just stuck to these 2 shades, a little bit of these 2, and then I think I dipped into the navy and like this burgundy red, and it came out absolutely beautifully. I got so many compliments on it. This is a super, like, it doesn't look it a first inspection, but it is such a versatile palette in terms of going day to night or crazy fun or super subdued. Oh, this palette is just amazing. And the other Jeffree Star one that I have, I actually haven't used yet, and this is the Blood Sugar palette. So I actually bought this for Megan for Christmas, and she went and bought me the Jawbreaker palette, and I guess when she bought this, she finally broke down and bought Blood Sugar, so she got it like a month before I was able to get it for her. So I decided to keep this palette for myself, and I just haven't gotten into it yet, and I really don't know why. I think originally I thought it was going to be too red. There was going to be too much in it that I wasn't into, but again, this color's a little crazy, this color, maybe this color, but for the most part, all of these colors are pretty neutral. They're going to blend out really nicely together. I don't know why I haven't tried this yet. If you guys are interested in seeing me try a video where I try this out for the first time, let me know. I would, of course, be happy to do that for you guys. So I've got one BH Cosmetics palette left. This is the Festival palette. Again, it keeps squeaking through my declutters just because the colors are so freaking gorgeous. And at one point, this was the only bright and colorful palette I have, but I do have quite a few more now. So this one doesn't really see a lot of love, but I don't know why, because the formula is really nice. The mattes are super creamy, super pigmented. Like, that green is just insane. Look at that. You can't see that. Look at that. That is insanely gorgeous. And the, like, foil, well, they're not foil, I guess the, like, shimmery shades, like this one here, again, absolutely stunning. I don't know why I don't reach for this more. I definitely should. Because again, while this has all these bright pops of color, there's enough neutrals in here to get by. I might need a slightly lighter matte shade, but again, that's why I have single shadows. That's why I have other palettes. So I have 2 Violet Voss palettes. I have the Flamingo palette, which I adore. I did a look when I got this. You guys seem to really like it. Again, these palettes are so underrated. Like, I feel like nobody talks about the Violet Voss palettes, or very rarely does. This one is by far my favorite. It's got all these beautiful colors. They're kind of like borderline pastel-y colors, but not quite. It's also got like this like beautiful like sunbathe colors, kind of like a suntan. Sandals. This black is pretty black. Like, they're nice shadows. They're really good quality. And the foiled shadows, or whatever you want to call these, are just amazing. I have this small one. This is the fun-sized fruit sorbet palette. It's got all these bright colors in it. I got it kind of as a travel accompaniment palette, so that if I do take a more neutral palette with me on vacation, I can also pack this small one with me just to have some pops of color in there. So this is, I would say, is it half? No, so there's 4 shimmers. So you've got the green, the blue, this like black kind of a color, kind of more of like a silvery gray, and then this white, and then everything else is matte. I have never tried to do a standalone look with this, although I'm sure you could, but I have definitely used this in a lot of like other makeup looks just for a pop of color. The other Violet Voss palette I have came in a BoxyCharm. This is the Essentials palette. This one is my least favorite of all the ones that I have. Again, it is very, very nice. It definitely has some essentials in it. You can definitely get away with doing a full look from this, but there's nothing that's like super fun and exciting in here like there are in a lot of her other palettes. And for that reason, it's my least favorite. But again, the quality is fantastic. The price is okay. Like I said, I'll link it all, but they're not crazy expensive. So that's kind of nice. So I've got this Melt Cosmetics Smoke Sessions palette. I have never touched this. I bought it because I love greens. I loved the formula when I swatched it in the store, and then I just never used it. Again, I don't think that this could be a standalone unless I was looking to do a really bright, bold, dark look, but this could be really fun mixed in with some other browns. I'm definitely going to have to try this out. Somebody remind me to do it, or when I shop my stash, if you're interested in seeing me do a look with this, let me know. I definitely need to make sure I use it because I bought a whole bunch of palettes at the same time and I got so caught up using everything else that this one kind of fell to the wayside and I forgot about it. I have this Alamar Cosmetics palette. This is the Reina del Caribe Volume 1 palette. This again came in a BoxyCharm. I really like this palette. The quality is fantastic. The shadows are really creamy, really pigmented, really, really nice. Again, it's very, very like 1 or 2 look palette. There's not a ton you can do with it, but it is nice. I'm also very, very aware, and I don't know if anyone else is like this, of palettes and the space used in the palette. So this only has 8 pans, and you have all of this open space here. Like a lot of open space. Like you could have shoved this up and put another pan and you could have made the packaging a little bit smaller. I'm very aware of that. This is not a palette that I would have bought on my own, if I'm completely honest. Having it, I'm grateful to have it. I do really, really enjoy it, but that's not a palette I would have gone out of my way to buy on its own. We're going to talk about a sore spot in a lot of people's lives. I know a lot of people don't use Kat Von D. I know a lot of people don't buy Kat Von D. Somebody was saying in a video I watched that they actually rebranded and it's got nothing really to do with her anymore. But I love this palette. I loved it when I got it. I still love it now. This is the Saints and Sinners palette. I know a lot of people don't like it. It's why I don't really use it on my channel. And honestly, because of the size and the shape, it kind of gets tucked in the back of the drawer and I don't use it a ton. But it is beautiful. It's got really everything you need. It has tons of neutrals to make a beautiful neutral look. Got tons of brights if you like playing with fun colors. It's got a little bit of cool tones, a little bit of warm tones. Honestly, I think that this palette is fantastic. It's too bad it was a limited edition palette. I have one Kylie palette. This is the Take Me on Vacation palette, and I have taken this on vacation with me a few times. I adore this palette. I think it is really, really fun. It is super versatile. Again, you've got all of your basic neutral tones to get a really nice neutral look, but you've got this beautiful blue that just like adds a little pop of color. I'm really into this yellow color. It's kind of like a toned down, like lemony kind of a yellow, not super bright. This palette is phenomenal. It was the first one I tried of hers, and because of this, I'm like kind of tempted to try others, but I haven't gotten there yet. So really, really like this. Again, I think it's still available, but if it isn't, sorry. We'll talk about this one really quickly. This is my Storybook Cosmetics, or Fairy Tale. No, yeah, Storybook Cosmetics Fairy Tales Little Red Riding Hood palette. It came in a BoxyCharm. This is what it looks like. It's cute, it's fine, the shadows are good. Again, packaging and space. Why is this box so freaking thick to just have 6 shadows where the pan probably literally only goes like a third of the way down, if not even? I don't know, to me, it's a cute idea. I understand why they did it. And if this like maybe came out, or I don't really know. Also, a very, very one-dimensional palette. Nothing I don't already have. This will probably get decluttered. eventually, but right now it's still here because I'm not doing my declutter yet. Isn't that kind of dumb? Let's get into my Natasha Denona palette. So the most heartbreaking thing for me is that this one seems to keep like cracking because it is so soft. But that's fine. I'll just stick it back down. So this is the palette number 8 of her 5 palettes. This is like the original size of her palettes. It's not a mini. I'm just trying to pack this back in here. Not all of her shadows have done that to me. This is the only one I've had a problem with it breaking. And I don't know if it's because I'm sometimes a little rough or if it broke in transit or something like that. So I actually wore this palette yesterday and I forgot how much I loved it. Now this particular one is all shimmery shades and her shimmers are just freaking phenomenal. Like the color payoff is just so freaking gorgeous. I hate that these cost so much money. Like these palettes are so expensive. All of her palettes are. It's one of those things where it's like, do I think they're worth the price point? Honestly, no. Yet I still have a bunch and I would never get rid of them because the quality is amazing. Having said that, Natasha Denona shadows are one of those things where if you've got like a gift card to Sephora or you have your heart set on one and you save your money up to get one, by all means do it. You're not going to be disappointed by it. They are fantastic quality. Sorry, I'm just getting some makeup wipes out, but they are an investment. I will just say that they are an investment. They cost a lot of money. The pan sizes are really, really nice in the full size ones. It's one of those things I'm torn on. Like I hate recommending them to you guys because I know how much they cost, but at the same time, I find it hard to be like, don't get them. They're not worth it because obviously I keep buying them and I really like them. So this is the palette number 5. This is more of like the blues. This green though, I'm obsessed with. Like it is just so freaking stunning. Her shadows are so good. They're extremely pigmented, very blendable, very, very soft, but they just cost so much money. I also have 2 of these mini 5 palettes. I can't remember how much the big ones were, but these mini ones were $33, so that's still pretty ridiculous. So I've got the mini gold palette and also the mini star palette. These were an impulse buy on my way out of Sephora. I can't explain them. They're pretty like similar to each other. Like this gold and this gold look very similar. This one and this one are kind of close together. I probably didn't need both. I'm a little bit more drawn to this one here, this mini gold palette, just because I'm super into those greeny tones, but I do really like them. I think that they're cute and I think it's a good entry level if you are looking to get into Natasha Denona. Just make sure that you're, because you know what, I love the formula and I know a lot of people do, but there's got to be people out there that don't. Everybody's different about everything, so make sure you're one of those people that loves the formula before you invest in the money in buying. All right, I've got 3 more Natasha Denona palettes. So this first one, and it angers me so much because I scratched the crap out of it. This is the Tropic palette. I love this one. Now, I almost, like, I wanted this, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get that palette. And then I went to Sephora, and I don't know if I swatched a bad one or what, but I walked out without it because I was like, no, you know what? You were wrong. You don't need it that bad. And then I watched Shan XO do a look using this palette, and I fell in love with it. I replicated the look, and it was just beautiful. I've taken this away with me. I love this because, again, this is one of those all-rounder palettes where it's got all of these beautiful neutrals to do your base look, to do a really, really nice look, and then you've got all of these pops of color. This mint frost, gorgeous. I love this green. This blue is really, really nice. Like, you've got all of these fun pops of colors to take your look up to another level if that's what you're kind of into. I just adore this so much. Also, I'm just going to kind of show you all of the different pan sizes in these palettes, just so you have an idea when I put the cost up. So, like, these are the same. So, the original 5s and the big palettes, so, like, the original 15, so I'm talking, like, the Tropics, the Safari, I think the Nudes, the Gold, the Lila, they're all in these size. And then you have ones like the Sunrise palette. These ones are the mini size, and these ones are just slightly bigger than, oh my god, she took a huge chunk out of that shadow. Do you see that? Hate that. I gotta be more careful. Any makeup people know though you do this. So these ones are slightly smaller again than the mini, and then the mini is smaller than the like full size one. Just so you guys know and have had a size comparison. So this is the Sunrise palette. I love this. I didn't think that I would, but I adore it. This color in particular, this like mustardy kind of orangey yellow, I am just obsessed with. It's again got a really nice array of shimmers to mattes, really good balance in it. This palette is so, so nice. And this one, like these palettes are $179, I think. These ones are only like $78. And again, like I said, unless you're really only using one palette religiously, you're not gonna hit pan. So I almost wish that she had done like these palettes in smaller sizes too and made them a little bit more affordable. It's just my opinion. The last one I have is the Safari palette. This was one that I bought because Totty Beauty raved about it. She talked about how many great looks she got out of it. I originally wasn't that into it, and even now I look at it and I'm kind of like meh. But I know how amazing it is. I know how great it is. It's a really good standalone. It's a good accompaniment palette when you need a couple more matte shades for like something that has only shimmers. I know how fantastic this is, which is why I keep it and I love it. Because like honestly looking at it, it's pretty like meh, like it's very flat. There's nothing vibrant in it at all, but just like it's a really good staple palette for any collection. Speaking of Totty, I have my Totty Beauty palette. We're not going to spend a long time talking about this one just because I just did a video on this palette. I will link it down below if you guys are interested in seeing that. I love this palette. I know I was talking to somebody who really didn't like it that much. She had a lot of problems with staining. I haven't had that problem. Mind you, I've only used the palette the one time that you guys saw me use it because, again, I'm trying to cycle through palettes, but I absolutely love this. I think the formula is fantastic. I think it's a really great concept in terms of doing the, like, finishes one way and then the strict color families the other way. I adore this palette, and it's a really good price point in my opinion. Let's talk NARS shadows. I don't have a ton, but I've got some, and these are, like, I've put anything in here that has, like, that's not a single shadow. So I've got a bunch of these like little 2 shadows. So this one is Sugarland. It's got like this really nice purple and then like this like champagne-y kind of color. I've got All About Eve, which is just a couple neutrals. Honestly, they're virtually the same as each other. And then I've got this one, which is Kalahari, which is a slightly darker one and another neutral. I probably could have gotten away with not getting both of these if I'm being completely honest. But whatever. And then I also have this what is this called? Voyager eyeshadow palette. This is the small one. This one is the copper one. I bought it specifically for travel, and I find that I don't get a ton of use out of it. The shadows are really, really nice. Was it worth what I paid for it? No, I don't think it was. Because again, like, even though the shadows are nice, it's such a one-note palette. It's nice, but it's not even a good accompaniment palette because, like, I don't know. I think that this is missing a lighter, like a darker matte brown. It's missing maybe a shade lighter in a matte. I don't know how I feel about that. It's fine. The quality's good. I wouldn't necessarily recommend anybody run out and grab it right now, though. I have this e.l.f. News Rose Gold palette. I literally just finished filming a video with this today. It's okay. I was trying it out as a dupe for the Naked 3 palette, and it just does not compare. It's not super blendable. It goes on pretty patchy a lot of the time. I don't know. I can't recommend this palette. I'm sure some of the other e.l.f. palettes are fantastic, but this is not one of them. So I don't know. That one will probably end up going bye-bye eventually, but for now, I'll see what use I can get out of it. I've got 2 Marc Jacobs palettes. So I have the Editorial and also Stiletto. These are these color icon palettes. These are very, very nice palettes, but again, they're super expensive and probably not worth the money I paid for them. This one I got because I kind of liked the more greeny tones. Again, though, it's missing a couple colors in my opinion, but they are really nice. I do find that the fallout is really bad in the palette itself. Like, they can be very, very chalky in formula. Again, it's just an opinion. If you're obsessed with these shadows, all the more power to you. They're just not my favorite. I do like this one a little bit more. I find it a little bit more wearable. It's a lot of fun colors, although these 2 colors are so close to each other. You're not even in frame, I'm sorry. These 2 colors are so close to each other that I think they could have done maybe a little something different, but whatever. Next, I'm going to talk about this Ace Beauty or Ace Butte palette. This is the Scarlet Dusk palette. I got it in a BoxyCharm. I haven't used this. I'm only showing you guys because it's technically still in my collection, but I'm 90% sure I'm going to be putting it in a giveaway. Because I have a lot of palettes that have these similar colors in it. There's one or two colors, this one in particular, maybe this Maui, that I am really, really intrigued by. But to be honest, I don't think I need to keep it, particularly if I'm sitting here, since it's in front of me, and I look at the Blood Sugar palette. I don't think I need both. Like, I just don't. Like, I'm seeing a couple of the reds that are similar. Definitely this like bright orange is pretty close to this bright red down here. I just don't think I need it. Let's go through my one Jouer palette before I start getting heavy into the brands that I have a lot of. This is the Tan Lines palette. I forgot how much I love this palette. Again, the spacing, not ideal. They could have shifted these up, made them a little smaller, put another color underneath perhaps, but these are amazing. The mattes are so freaking soft, so pigmented. The only ones I'm not a big fan of are these like foiled ones. That's just because I haven't quite figured out how to use them to the best of their ability. But other than that, this shadow is fantastic. This blue, you guys, is just gorgeous. I think that this might have been limited edition to last year. I can't really remember, but I forgot how much I liked it. I love that palette. All right, I have two Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes. I have the Modern Renaissance palette. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this. She's put out a ton of palettes in this size, in this kind of like case. This is the only one I have. It's not the only one I've wanted. I've been very tempted to buy a couple other ones, but I do tend to watch reviews on them, and I know that some of them aren't as good as this one. Like, I know that the Subculture palette, which I actually really liked the color scheme of, had some issues in terms of the shadows, like, not blending very well. It was very finicky. I know that the Norvina palette, also like the original one, also had some problems where like the foils were so soft that they just crumbled away, and I don't really like that either. So this is the only one I have. I absolutely love this one. I've also got this ABH Norvina Collection Mini Pro Pigment Palette Volume 2. I have not used this yet. This is another one I bought around the same time I bought that Melt Cosmetics one, and I just haven't gotten around to using it. This is going to be a fun pop of color kind of palette. If you guys want to see me try and do a look with this, let me know. I am super excited to play with it though. Next, we're going to talk about my Huda palettes. I've got 3 of the minis and then 3 of the standard size. So for minis, I have the green neon one. I haven't used this a ton. I bought it with the idea that I was going to be like obsessed with it, but honestly, it's not as good as I think I originally thought it was going to be. It's okay. I need to get a little bit more use out of it to decide for sure if I'm in love with it enough to keep it after my next declutter, but it's okay. I know that a lot of people found that the neon palettes fell short of what they were looking for from her. And everybody, it's funny because everyone's like, oh, the green one's the worst, but this was the only one that I was actually really into. I just wish it had been a little more green, which is maybe why I was into it, because I was like, you get your greens, but you also get a little bit of other stuff. Again, I don't know how much of a look I could do with this as a standalone, but we'll try. I also have 2 of the nude palettes. I have the Nude Light and the Nude Medium. I recently did a look with this one trying to copy somebody else's look. I do really like this. I think that these are also a really good cheaper alternative to buying the new nude palette, because even though I have the new nude and I have these ones, I don't think you need them all. I think you could get away without it. So this is the light one, and then this is the medium one. There's also a dark version that I just wasn't as big a fan of, so I have these 2. The quality is amazing. These are really good, really easy to get a standalone look out of. Really, really nice that they're small. They're good for travel. I like those. Speaking of the nude ones, let's just talk about the new nude. Here it is. It is more of like a purpley kind of tone, whereas those ones I feel like, particularly the medium one, has a little bit more browns in it, which I kind of like. It's got a little bit more of that kind of vibe to it. I do really like this. I don't get any use out of this concealer shade, which I assume is supposed to be like an eyeshadow base, but I do really like it. I love these like fun foiled ones. I think they're stunning. The glitters, I don't really get a ton of use out of, and that's just because I'm not a glitter person, and I really do need to invest in a glitter glue. But everything else in here is amazing. Like all Huda shadows, they all blend really nicely. They're super pigmented, super soft, super creamy, all that fun stuff. Got the Mercury Retrograde palette. Again, I did a look on this when it came out. I love this palette. I haven't used it in a while. I should though, because again, as much as it's got all those crazy fun colors, it's got a lot of staple colors in it as well. I think it's another really, really good, well-rounded palette. And then, of course, I have the Desert Dusk palette. This is the palette that really got me into Huda Beauty in general. I've got a bunch of her stuff now, but this is the thing that started it all. And I think it was for a lot of people. Like, this palette got so much hype, and the hype was so well-deserved. It is so freaking nice. All right, time to get into all of my MAC shadows. So I've got a bunch of different sizes. So first things first, I have two of these duos. These came out a couple years ago in one of the Christmas collections. So these are Extra Dimension eyeshadows. This one is in Light of the Silver Moon and Ready to Party. And then I've got this one here, which is in Just Gleaming and Snow Dusk. So these are the two that I have. I love the Extra Dimension shadows, which is why I keep holding on to them. They are one of their best formula, if not their best formula. These actually live up in my another drawer. They don't live in the palette drawer because they would just get lost completely. But I do really, really, really like these. It's just too bad that they were limited edition, although they have tons of other Extra Dimension ones. Another limited edition palette is my Patrick Star Oh Holy Eyes palette. I love this. He put out two. This was the one that I got. It's gorgeous, perfect for a really, really nice, glamorous look. I've got another 6-pan one. This one came out in the Fruity Juicy collection. This one is Oh My Banana. I used to have the other two, which were something about Love in the Glades and Fruit a la la or something like that. There was like a pinky one and a green one. This one is, of course, my favorite. Again, all you need. It's got the perfect amount to do a perfect look. This color, awesome. This is my favorite color in this whole palette, is this like really nice orange. Again, too bad they don't keep making that, but whatever. This is this 12 Shadow Desert Lightning palette. I keep like going back and forth on this palette. Some days I love it, some days I hate it. I'm so hit or miss on this. I bought it literally pretty much for this one like minty kind of tealy green silvery kind of color, which I do love, but I don't know. I'm very, very hit or miss. This is about the only cool tone palette that I have though, which is why I've held on to it a little while, because I don't have a lot of cool tone palettes, but I don't know. Sometimes this does it for me, and sometimes the looks I try come out looking like shit. These are the two 6-pan shadow palettes that I got this year in the Christmas collection. So this one is the neutral one, and then I also have the fuchsia one. I do really like these. I don't reach for them all of the time. I think that they were beautiful. These definitely to me scream holiday, scream Christmas. I don't put that much glitter on my eyes as an everyday rule, but I do think that they're really pretty and the quality is actually really good, which can sometimes fall when MAC does limited edition stuff, but that time it didn't seem to. I've got the Princess Jasmine 9 Times palette. Again, I like this when I got it, but I haven't used it much since, and it does seem very, very, like, limited to what I could do with it. There's a lot of shimmer in here. I'm missing a couple staple mattes, but again, it's nice. This one I love. I travel with this. This is my Burgundy Times 9. I just think this is an absolutely gorgeous palette. It's got a little bit of everything you need. I've gotten multiple different kinds of looks with this, some darker, some lighter, some, you know, more soft and glamorous, some more bold and daring. I absolutely adore this. I really, really was into when MAC was putting out these 9 Times palettes because they were inexpensive compared to some of the other palettes that they had, and they were so cohesive as a palette. Like the color families were just so, so good. Like there's no shadow in here that doesn't go with another shadow in here, and I love that. I've got two of their 15-pan palettes. So I've got the Warm Neutrals palette. I don't know if they make these anymore. I would have to look into it, but a lot of these shadows are in their regular line anyway, so you could always make your own palette out of it. I really like this. This is one of my favorite neutral palettes. It's very, very staple. There's nothing crazy or fun about it, but again, just for a regular look, really, really nice. This one is the Mellow Moderns. I know they don't make this anymore. This was my favorite palette for forever because it had everything in it that I ever wanted. It had all of your neutrals. I was really big into purples for a while. I liked to do a dark smoky eye. It had a bit of that. Had some greens, had this beautiful gold. Like, this palette to me has everything in it. I love it so much. I'm so sad that they don't make it anymore, but again, you could always like look up what colors were in it and make your own version. So the only brand, my foot's falling asleep, that I have left is my Urban Decay palettes. So first things first, we're going to talk about my favorite Urban Decay palette. This is the Born to Run palette. I love this palette. It is one of the best ones I've ever seen them put out. Everybody raves about it. Again, I feel like it flew under the radar when it first came out. There wasn't a lot of hype about it, but I just adore it. I think it's got everything, again, you need. It's maybe missing some of those, like, it's a bit darker of a palette. So, you know, you've got all your blacks and stuff like that. It's maybe missing some warmer colors. Not to say that this is a cool tone palette, because I don't think it is, but just maybe it's missing some bright colors, but I don't think that that was the point of this. I think it's very versatile. You can do something with purple, something with the blacks and the I guess that's purple. This is pinks. Something with the blacks, definitely something like more greeny, something neutral. It's so, so versatile, and the quality is just amazing. And it sounds really stupid, but one of the things I like the most is you can completely fold the back down and just have it flat if you're not using that mirror. Next one is one that is discontinued, so I'm not going to talk about it long. This is the original Naked palette. I don't have the heart to let this go. It's my favorite one of all the Nakeds that ever came out. It's too bad they don't make it anymore. This is the one that they kind of made to replace it. This is the Naked Reloaded. I know a lot of people didn't know how to feel about this. I liked it when I used it. I haven't used it in a while, but I did really like it when it came out. I thought it was good, but I know a lot of people were really torn about it. It is that same shadow quality you expect from all Urban Decay products. It is really nice. I have the Naked Cherry palette. Again, this one received mixed reviews. It's one of those things where if you're super into like pinks, you'll really like this. If not, you're not going to have a place for it in your life. I am not super into pinks. I do really like this, but I think at the time I also just kind of bought it because I got caught up in the hype. I avoided that with the Naked Honey. I was really tempted to buy it, but what I found, and what I have found with some of these more like monochromatic ones that they've been putting out, like the Naked Honey, the Naked Cherry, the Urban Decay Naked Heat, is that there's multiple colors in it that are so freaking similar. Like, these two colors are quite similar that, you know, they could have put another color in there. And I found the same thing for the Naked Honey. Now, this one is the biggest culprit of that, the Naked Heat, for having multiple colors that are just the same. Like, I like this palette. It's really nice. It's a really cool neutral, not cool, but like sweet neutral palette. I really like it, but again, it got a lot of backlash when it came out. I've also got the Urban Decay Naked 3, like I said before. It looks very similar to that e.l.f. one. This has got like the pinky purple kind of tones to it. I don't have the Naked 2, but that's pretty much like the only one I don't have. And the last palette that I have, this is the Urban Decay Game of Thrones palette. I did a review on this when it came out. I actually had a video that was going to go up where I did a look using this section, a look using this section, a look using this section, and then I was going to do a look using this section. I still had the footage, but I never finished it out and I never put it up, and that's just because this was limited edition and you can't get it anymore. So I didn't know if you guys would be interested in that. If you are, let me know. I really like this palette. I think the colors are beautiful. I think it's a lot of fun. They stayed very true to the Game of Thrones. I hate the packaging. This is the bulkiest freaking thing ever, and there's nothing you can do about it because, like, there's no way that this will stay safe in anything but this gigantic, bulky packaging that just has this chair in it. Like, it's cute for the idea, but it's completely unnecessary. So that is all of the palettes that I have. If you guys saw any that you want tutorials on or you want me to go in more depth in, let me know. This video is probably already long enough as it is, but I will continue to do bits of my makeup collection so you guys can see what I'm working with. So hopefully we can get some Shop My Stash videos coming. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.